Hey guys, DJ here from the Future Tech TV fam. So I got my Valorant beta key. Went ahead and recorded some gameplay footage for you, put together my review video. I hope you enjoy. Like and subscribe and follow for more. For anybody who might not know, Valorant is Riot Games' first foray into first-person shooters. You may have played some of their other games in League of Legends, Legends of Runeterra, and Teamfight Tactics, but this is their first venture in trying to make a shooter. Now, Riot has been around for quite a while, and they're garnering the reputation of being one of the developers who greatly improves their products after they launch them. Take League of Legends, for example. It was released on October 27th, 2009, so 11 years ago. In that amount of time, they've released a lot of new content. They've also released dozens of new champions in that same time frame. It keeps the game fresh, it leaves their player base something to look forward to, and it keeps their communities engaged. I mean, it does say something about a game, after all, that 11 years after its release, it's still one of the top esports and one of the top viewed titles on Twitch. So Riot's known for a long time that they have a large chunk of their player base that's very active on Twitch, and I think that's what led them to the decision of letting the access for the closed beta only be released via Twitch drop. The game is still in closed beta. It's not open for anybody, and the only way you can gain access to it is actually by watching streams where the broadcaster has drops enabled by Riot. This decision by itself has a large role to play in why Valorant set the single day hours watched record for any game released on Twitch. On April 9th of 2020, there was 1.7 million concurrent viewers watching Valorant. Now, at the time of me recording this video, you can see on my screen that it is dropping dramatically already, and it's down to 360,000 viewers already. They just released Ranked, so I was expecting a big uptick on how many people were trying to come and play in stream Valorant, but it hasn't reflected that way in their numbers. On April 29th, so 3 days ago, Polygon reported a story about how Twitch is cracking down on the 24/7 Valorant streams. A lot of people were trying to take advantage of the drop situation and leave their streams running 24/7 with pre-recorded gameplay footage. What this led to was an outcry from other streamers who were actually playing live 24/7 and complaining about the people who were just playing pre-recorded footage for 24 hours a day and having people just park on their channel in the hopes of a beta key. Now, I did receive my beta key within the first week of launch, so I do have some captured gameplay footage I'm going to be sharing with you guys, but first, a word from our sponsor. Just kidding, we don't have one, but I wanted to leave a spot in case somebody decided to apply for one at futuretechtvfam@gmail.com. There's also been a fair amount of controversy regarding the Riot Vanguard Anti-Cheat Program, so stick around for that because we're going to talk about that after we preview the gameplay footage. So when you first log into Valorant, you're greeted with your latest screen. This is where you can check any progress on the contracts you might have for some of your agents. You can also go to Collection, where you can view all the different weapons that you have available to you at the buy screen once you start playing the game. Now, from this screen, you can preview the skins you have for each weapon, but I do want to make sure everybody notices right up front that the skins do not just change the look of the weapon, they actually change the shape. So when you go to aim down sights, it will decrease your field of view. Also, from the collection screen, you can come in here and view all of the different agents they have available for the closed beta. Currently, there are 10, 5 which are available as soon as you download the game, and 5 which you have to earn by unlocking them as you play. I recommend you to come in here, flip through the different agents that you have available to you, check out the different classes that they have and the abilities they have on their Q, E, C, and X buttons. There are 4 initial classes that are offered in the closed beta: Initiators, Controllers, Sentinels, and Duelists. Don't put too much stock into what they're actually called, as I made that mistake and picked a Duelist thinking they would be better for DPS. We will talk a little bit later in the video about why that's not the case, but as of right now, just remember, don't put too much stock into what character you picked based on their classification. The tooltips on Initiators reads: Initiators challenge angles by setting up their team to enter contested ground and push defenders away. Controllers are experts in slicing up dangerous territory to set up their team for success. Duelists are self-sufficient fraggers who their team expects through abilities and skills to get high frags and seek out engagement first. And Sentinels are defensive experts who can lock down areas and watch flanks, both on attacker and defender rounds. There are gameplay-oriented reasons why I say not to put too much stock into what the classifications of each character are called. We'll just take Sage for an example here. She is classified as a Sentinel. However, her ultimate is actually a res, and one of her basic abilities is the ability to heal her teammates. So Sentinel comes across to me from years of being programmed into gaming as a tank class, but in reality she's more of a healer than she is a tank. Once you select your character and start the game, you can check the map by hitting the M button. They do have a nice little overlay that shows you all the different areas as they describe them, so that way if you guys are trying to plan out your route to and from the bomb site, you can say specifically where you guys want to try to travel. Also take note that I say as they describe them, because I have noticed that the community has given its own names to locations in the game on the map. In this particular game here, you might be able to hear my teammates calling out a couple times, "Let's go garage." And I kept trying to check the map for what location was garage, and it just wasn't labeled that way. So make sure you're aware of that when you're playing in game and trying to communicate with your team as well. Now there's one game mode, and it's the same bomb defusal we've been familiar with since Counter-Strike popularized it in 2000, 20 years ago. For those of you who haven't gotten your hands on Valorant yet, you'll see the orbs popping up all over the map. These are the abilities from the different characters that can actually restrict visibility through different line of sight areas in the map. Please keep in mind that this affects the visibility of your enemies and of your team. You see, we engage here, but my teammate goes ahead and uses her ability, and now it cuts our visibility off into the area that we're trying to assault. So now that we can't push further there, we decide to double back and regroup with our team, and I'll push to bomb site B together. My teammates all smartly use their abilities to reveal the enemy team at the perfect times when we're trying to round corners. I can then use Phoenix's curveball to go around the corners and blind them as we push in and get some quick kills. Once the area is safe enough, our spike carrier goes ahead and sets the bomb, and we wait for them to try to come and defuse. Now once the bomb is planted, it becomes a real tactical shooter. And you'll see what I mean after the round, but we end up getting a couple extra kills here at the finish, and we win the round not by bombing the site, but by eliminating our team.
Yeah, it's also insanely hard to knife people.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what you can expect from Valorant round in, round out, for its entirety, at least as it exists today during the closed beta. There's no point in focusing on one character and trying to max it out and get best at that. Change your character between games so that way you can experience them all. I play primarily solo, so when I'm joining up with 4 completely random people, and I have noticed that it seems like the games are very polarizing. Either your team is going to completely steamroll your opponents, or they're going to completely steamroll you. At the time of this video, Ranked is just coming out, and they did confirm skill-based matchmaking last month, but it doesn't seem to change the fact that it goes one way or the other very harsh. Well, I have to give them an immense amount of credit in making sure that every class feels balanced and not a single character or class feels overpowered. The fact that the gameplay is so centered on the gunplay, it actually makes it feel like certain characters' powers are completely underpowered and irrelevant. As you'll see in the clip I'm playing above, my team and I are moving to bomb point B to plant. We're on the aggression. I hear that there's a team trying to sneak up from behind to flank us, so I'll pull out Raze's ultimate, which is a rocket launcher, and try to secure my team's flank while they're up there defending the bomb. And I'm going to slow the clip down right here to show you guys what happens. When I shoot the rocket, you can clearly see the enemy's player model is within the animation of the explosion, but he doesn't die. The ultimate landed. Did you see that? Did you see that? You compare that to the deadliness of most of the weapons where a one-shot headshot can be achieved. It's pretty easy to see that they wanted the gunplay to be the main focus of this game and not the abilities. And while this does avoid the situation of you having an unwinnable comp and stops people from rage quitting when you didn't pick the right character that they wanted you to pick, it creates gameplay situations like in the above clip, where if you don't abide by the strict rules of being a tactical shooter, move slow, crouch when you shoot, don't shoot more than 2 bullets at a time or the recoil is going to be uncontrollable, you're going to have a really hard time with this game. Now I want to make sure you know this because you've probably heard people comparing this game to as if CSGO and Overwatch had a baby, which is kind of accurate. After all, it's inarguable that they're using a very similar system to Overwatch when it comes down to the abilities. The main difference is in where is the focus. In Valorant, the focus is on the gunplay, and in Overwatch, it's on the abilities. You can coordinate and time your ults perfectly with your team, all day on Valorant. But unless that translates to you planting the bomb or defusing the bomb, it does not make a shred of difference. So if you're an Overwatch player that's thinking about coming over and trying Valorant because you heard, hey, it's kind of like Overwatch, I might like it, right? stop. You will have a much easier time translating your skills from CSGO and to being successful at Valorant than you will starting at Overwatch and trying to translate those skills over to Valorant. Obviously, I've played both games. Counter-Strike is actually where I started my esports career way back when it was still the Cyber Athletics League. I have been planting and defusing bombs for 20 years now. While I'm sure that fact alone has something to do with why I didn't seem to enjoy Valorant as much as so many other people happen to be enjoying it, you guys deserve more. And I don't want to give you my review on a product based purely on my feelings on it alone, whether I enjoyed it, because I know we all have different reasons and motivations for what we enjoy and why we come online to play games. So before I get into the actual review, I'm just going to take a couple seconds to tell you guys where I'm coming from and my background on gaming and why I kind of feel the way I do about Valorant. So in the year 2000, when Counter-Strike came out, I was 16, and back then it was the height of technology. We had realistic recoil patterns, footsteps that you could hear in a fairly realistic manner for the state of technology we had at the time. I was hooked. I played Counter-Strike non-stop, endlessly for years. It wasn't until years later when Xbox Live and Halo came out that I really redirected my focus onto a different game. So I put hours into Counter-Strike. And believe me, I consider myself an authority on the subject. So now, 20 years later, sitting behind Valorant, I can honestly tell you that if somebody would have sat me in front of this game and said that it was a cheap Chinese knockoff, a reskin of CSGO, I would have believed them. In the past 20 years, we've seen so many additions to first-person shooters. It went from just a general point-and-shoot to an aim-down sights. We went from a walk to a run to a sprint to a tactical sprint to sprint and slides. Valorant has none of that. We've had sniper scopes, we've had variable sniper scopes, we've had vehicles, and we've had destructible environments. Valorant has none of that either. So when I hear people talking about how Valorant is going to redefine esports and it's going to be the next big thing, I want you to tell me, what is it doing that's new? For that matter, tell me what it's doing that's improved. Has it improved on CSGO's mechanics and physics and aim? Because I'll tell you, when I'm in-game sneaking to the bomb site, or getting yelled at by my teammates for not sneaking to the bomb site, it's reminiscent of early 2000s CS. Or like when I'm in-game with this clip here. I slowed it down so you can see I carved a hole in the environment behind this guy because I didn't stand still when I was shooting at him. Or like this clip here, with a sniper rifle that barely misses because I wasn't standing still. And as I'm recording this, I can hear all the get good comments out there about, well, just get better at the game, get better aim. So to everybody out there who's going to use the skill argument and say, well, maybe my skill level just isn't up to snuff for this game, this is my counter argument. We've talked a lot about how games have changed over the past 20 years, but not so much about how that's changed our gaming habits. When I first started playing Counter-Strike competitively, it was a challenge to ask all of my fingers to stop hitting the movement keys and to only hit the crouch button. But since technology has progressed since then, so have my habits. Now, when I start getting shot at, I go into evasive action. I start weaving my character left and right. I start trying to find an angle or cover that I can hide behind. There are multiple ways that those habits are bad for you in Valorant. Bomb defusal mode by itself more promotes camping and less aggressive tactics. When you're getting shot at, when you finally take a hit, your character just drastically slows down. It makes it almost impossible to evade your attackers from around a corner. Finally, the footstep volume, they're so loud it makes it almost impossible to actually play aggressive. To demonstrate, I pulled this next clip from my stream. You can find me at twitch.tv/FutureTechTVFam. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 o'clock p.m. That's the fastest movement speed you can have. There's no sprint, no tactical sprint. There's no run on top of your run. And from there, it's actually detrimental if you have that many players left because they can hear you clean across the map. Hear those footsteps?
Last player standing.
From how far away? You heard those footsteps? So frankly, at this stage of the game, while not only do I find it less interesting to stop, drop, and shoot like you have to do in Counter-Strike and Valorant, it would involve me having to completely retrain my left hand and my mentality at this point. So to be clear, in 2020, if somebody wants to come at me with a conversation about gaming skill, I expect that conversation to be about how to get your left and your right hands to work in conjunction with each other. I'd be glad to have that discussion on our Twitter account at FutureTechTVFam, but I think it might be more than 280 characters. So if you stuck around since the intro, you heard me talk about how I wanted to talk about the Riot Vanguard Anti-Cheat Program. There's been a bit of controversy about it because it hasn't been disclosed to the people who got the game exactly what it all entails. and people are worried that it might be used for some sort of malicious intent later on down the road. I don't want to get into the boring technical details of the Riot Vanguard Anti-Cheat Program, but what's important is it starts up when your computer starts and not when the game starts, so it's constantly running in the background. It also has higher level administration privileges to your computer that most people don't think it needs. That's the part where they think it could be used for something intrusive. Now, I personally didn't think this was anything to be too concerned about, obviously because I got the game and I downloaded the program anyway. It does still give you the option to uninstall it, so hey, I'll work with you there. Riot doesn't have a history of releasing their customers' information or anything along those lines, even though they are owned by the parent company Tencent, which is the globe's largest digital games distribution company. And Tencent does have a history, actually, of some of its subsidiaries releasing their clients' information. Either way, I thought it was worth it to give Riot the benefit of the doubt. I know many others did as well. I want to know what you guys think, though. Do you agree that while it might be harmless, they should have been more transparent about what we were getting when we downloaded that program? While you're down there, let me know if there's any other games or technology you'd like us to review. We have already released a home studio tour. I'm playing through the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and we'll be planning a review on that as well. And as always, we're very active on our Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok, so if you want to keep up on our family antics, that's probably the easiest way to do so. You can follow us at FutureTech TV Fam on all the social media. So my final thoughts on Valorant will be, while I don't see myself pouring hundreds of hours into it like I had Counter-Strike, I can appreciate and respect Riot's vision and dedication to their craft. If you stuck around this video long enough, I hope you respect and appreciate our vision and our craft as well. As always, I hope you felt like your time here was well spent, and you like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so that way you get notified when our next video becomes available.